Right, so that's the inside back done. Outside back time to go. I've, as you saw me do there, I think you did, punch the holes through for the fixings, everything. So I just need to trim off this excess fabric here. So the outside back just gets back tacked along here, right the way through, and then it has the metal claw down this edge. This edge here, which is the joining edge of the to the other sofa, the fabric gets stapled round onto this edge here, so it sort of clamps, compresses to close up any gap along here as well. So there you go. So outside back, and then I've got to decide what I'm going to do with the bottom cloth, whether I'm going to velcro it or just fold it back and have a gap along that edge. So there you go, fresh cup of tea on go. Let's get this back tacked on first anyway. So there you have it. That's the outside back on. Back tacked along this edge. All round stapled along this edge. I'll just take the camera down and you can have a proper look. Right, so there you see we've stapled along this edge because it clamps up against the other piece of the sofa. We've got fixing holes in it there. Try and keep it very clean. It's a white sofa, it shows up everything. So there you go. So, same again with the other half of the sofa. And we'll put the feet on it in the workshop and hopefully get it on the floor so you can have a look at it. but I will post some pictures of it in the customer's property. So there you go. Which isn't going to be for a while because I've got to do these dining chairs here. Well, you're going to join me whilst I rip up these dining chairs, and we'll show you how much work's involved in these, because they've been reupholstered previously. So they've got 2 covers on. So we've got the cover that they're here, and then there's a previous cover underneath it, and whoever reupholstered them, when they ripped the chairs up, didn't do a particularly good job of ripping them up. They left a lot of the original cover on there, which made them a little bit lumpy and bumpy and a bit bulky on corners, etc. Let's show you the back of one of these so you can see what I mean. So we've had to rip it up. I've got it to this stage so far. So it needs these staples cleaning off, because as you can see here, these are not very kind to fingers. We don't want to be turning my fingers into a pincushion. They've had a couple of layers of Lux Bond on, which is okay, and it's just as well, to be honest, with the cover that the customer has supplied me. I believe it's a curtain fabric, so you can basically see through it, but I'll show you a bit further on what that's like. So let's get on with ripping this last chair up and cleaning the frames up, ready for reupholstery, and then you can see what fabric is going on it. It's a nice fabric, don't get me wrong. It reminds me a little bit of Howard and Sons design of fabric. I'll try and post a picture of Howard and Sons fabric next to what we're supplying, and you'll see the similarities. But it's a nice fabric, but unfortunately it's a curtain weight fabric, so it's just a printed cotton. The customer's fully aware of this. I wouldn't advise to use it. I don't think it's going to wear very well, and if it wasn't for the Lux Bond on the chair, you would see the green or blue foam through the fabric. So there you go. So anyway, I'm waffling. Let's get on with ripping this up once I put the kettle on. Right, there you go. So that's the worst of the cover off. 3 pieces of cover. Seats, inside back, outside back. Right, the outside back here, we've got majority of the fabric off, including the majority of the original fabric. So it's very hard work on your hands. After doing the 7 today, my hands are going to be a little bit sore tonight. Right, but they're not finished ripping up or preparation now. That's finished ripping up, now we're prepping. I need to get rid of all these little spikes, all these staples, all these broken staples and so on. And the reason for trying to get as much of the fibre and fabric off, the original stuff off, is I'm going to use a 9-inch grinder with a flat disc on it. This here, 9-inch grinder with flat disc. I'm going to run that over all these edges to get them nice and clean, so when I'm upholstering it I'm not worrying about turning my hands into pin cushions. So let's crack on with that. I've got 7 to do and then that's me done for the day. Right, so that's the majority of it cut. We just need to cut the piping now, the single piping that goes around the outside back. This is left over from the pattern repeat going up the roll. Now I could use this to cut the piping out of. Excuse me, no tea this morning, we've got a smoothie. We could use this to cut the piping. Now, as you may have seen in previous videos, I favour cutting the piping on the bias. So this is how this fabric came off the roll here. So you could cut it just straight across it or straight up it to get nice long runs of piping. What I prefer to do is to cut it on the bias, so an angle like that across the roll. When it's cut on the bias, the piping lays better. It'll go round corners, etc. It doesn't kink, especially not so much on what I'm going to be doing here, but on P-shaped facings on an arm. When you cut it straight across or straight up the roll, it can look like a 50p piece. For those in the UK, there's 50 octagon, pentagon, that sort of shape. but if you cut it on the bias, like so, it lays better. It's to do with the fabric fibres obviously going vertical and horizontal. So I've got plenty of this fabric left. It's going to be awkward enough to work with anyway because it is so thin and it's a cotton, it's going to show up everything. I don't want to make my job any harder. So I am going to cut this on the bias, so I'll just get this cut and sewn up, and then I'll come back to you when I'm ready to start putting some fabric on the chairs. Okay, so on these dining chairs, to cover them now. Excuse me. I've done a little preparation work on this frame. I've marked up the centres for the seats, the back and the outside back, and I've marked the fabrics, the back of the fabric, so I know where the pattern goes. So let's try and get this done. It's going to be, well, I say last job, one of my last jobs before Christmas, but it'll be that this is the last chair of this set of dining chairs. So let's crack on and get the inside backs done. So try and keep up. We'll see how we go. I know where I've positioned the other chairs. I put one in the background of the picture so you can see what we're aiming for. There you go. Hopefully we can see that one. So let's crack on. Inside back, I'm positioning the centre of the fabric with the mark that I've put on the frame, so we know this is exactly the centre. I'm going to pull the pattern over to the same position as the other 6 chairs. So that's the top of the back. We're then going to pull the lower part off, so I'm tucking the fabric in. It's got to go through this gap here, and I'm just going to push it right the way through on the centre. Like I said, I've got a mark on the fabric and the frame, so we can keep the pattern horizontal, vertical. Sorry, my horizontal and verticals mixed up there. There you go. So that should be straight through the centre. A couple more staples in the top, so we keep the pattern level. My next job is to make the cuts through the back here, go around this side rail. So we've got to get our cuts nice and accurate because we don't want to, when this seat is pulled, have cuts visible. This fabric, like I've said to you previously, is not really an upholstery weight fabric. It's a curtain fabric, but it's been behaving itself. It's only ripped once when I put it under tension, and funnily enough it's where I'm doing now. So So these are like a little dart to go round. So we've gone round the inside of the back rail. Now we're going round the outside of it with the fabric. I'll spin it round and show you in a minute. Hopefully that'll make a bit more sense to you. So this is the bottom part of the back, and this is the inside of this rail. So we've made a cut and the fabric comes around here, and I've now pulled the fabric around the outside of that rail there. Now we're going to pull the tension from here to here so we can do the sides. Okay, this side here. I'll try and get round here so I'm not blocking the view. Easing the fabric over. Same on the other side. Using the palm of my hand to ease the fabric as I'm pulling. Opposite hand, get the tension in it. It's not leather, it's printed fabric, so I don't need to pull the nuts out of it. But I need enough tension in it that when you sit in it and get out of the chair, it doesn't leave it bagging. So, top of the back now, so get that in shot. Okay, you can see that. We've got a staple in the wrong place here. Pop that out. Right, so I'm going to create a little pleat at the top. Get out some of this now excess fabric. Side. Hopefully you can see that plate here, and there is at the back in case it comes over. Right, seat. Like I said, I've already marked the centre of the seat. Little staple there, or remnants of a staple from ripping it up. We want to get that out. We don't want that poking through the fabric into somebody. They won't appreciate that. Right, seat. Mark the front of the seat. I'm going to position it exactly the same manner as that I've positioned the others. Again, we want the pattern to match. Back through, similar manner to what the inside back was done. sure the lines match up. That's the back. We're going to give it the fabric pull to the front to get the centre line, and I'm pulling it to get the pattern in the same place as the other one. The pattern is a guide as well. It does help to use the pattern as reference points, albeit that the pattern may drift out on a printed fabric like this. The problem we have there is if I don't go by the pattern, that is what the customer's eye is drawn to, is the pattern. So I need to use the pattern as my datums. It's a good word for me this time of day. So we've got tension from front to back, and we've got tension side to side, so I can now make my cuts to go around the rails in the same manner as the inside back. One cut there to go on the inside of the rail. So you can see me on the side. Okay, the side rail. We've now got to make the cut to come around this rail here. Got all this bulky foam that the last upholsterers used. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as they want to work with it. They just switch boulders. We need to add a little bit of fibre around this leg. Make sure our cut's not going to be seen. Sorry, I've had to go on the side, you may not be able to see so well now. Okay. Folding and pulling the fabric under tension there, cut out this excess here. Cut around the bow. Okay, so we pulled this round here and we're now making the cut to fold the fabric to come around this leg here. Tuck that up out of the way. Using the fabric, and put tension in it. Whilst I've got it on its side here, I'm just going to pull the fabric to the front, again pushing it down, pulling it towards the front, then put a staple on the front edge to hold it in position. Okay, so we've pulled it from the back to the front, but also pulling it down. We're going to have a pleat here, so that's why we've got this going on here. We've got a single pleat coming down the front of this edge. Haven't got two pleats, just single pleats, and they're going to make a cut to take this fabric around this leg, the same as what I've done on the back. My apologies if I seem to be rushing this a little bit. I am, because I'm very aware of trying to keep as much information as I can in these vlogs, but try and keep them down to minimum length view as a viewer can enjoy. Like I said, these videos are never meant to be instructional. Anyway, really to show you what's going on in the workshop, more so than instruct you on how to do anything. The upholstery has their own way of doing things, and I would be the first person to say not necessarily a right or wrong way with a lot of this stuff. It's just how I prefer to do my work for the finish that I want to achieve. Somebody else might achieve the same finish but do it in a different manner. But ultimately it's about a quality product for our wonderful customers. Sometimes we try to do the best we can with what we're given, and when I say given, that also is dictated by what the customer's expectations are and their budgets to a certain degree. I don't like doing jobs to a budget because that compromises ultimately the quality. So I always price my work to do the job how I deem to be done properly, and then the customer can decide whether that's within their budget. On the opposite side of the seat, we've got a gimp in there that needs to come out. Gimp pins are tiny, I'll show you, tiny little nails. Sometimes they come coloured. This one is a tan in colour. Use them for finishing off. With this one, you'll see shortly how I finish around the legs. I'm going to use 4 antique on steel nails around the leg, just on the front edge, don't need it on the back edge. We could theoretically do them with just gimps like I've shown you. With a single gimp, but because of this fabric being so thin, I'm not 100% confident that the gimp will not tear through the fabric after a little bit of time and then it come apart. So I've opted to use decorative nails around the front edge of the leg, just to give me a bit of added security. So we've got the front of the leg, we've got this fabric here which is going to be a pleat, and it's as simple as that. Fold it there, down. That's how it works, but we need to cut some of this fabric out. Before we get that far. This one's back. So I'm going to cut along with those circles, cut some of this excess off here. Don't need to try and fold all that underneath that plate, just get too bulky and in the way. simply fold that under. Create a nice single pleat down the edge of that leg. I'm going to put a staple in here to hold it. So put a staple in that edge there so I can hold it. Now I can make this cut to go around the leg. Then we'll remove that staple, fold the fabric back on itself. We don't want any raw edges. Sorry, I've got my bits here. So we've now cut round that leg. See that there? Cut round that leg. So I'm going to cut this off here. And then we're going to fold this back. Put a single staple back in it, which will be underneath nails, decorative nails. So let me see, we have no raw edge fabric. Where I'm putting this single staple, this process is exactly the same as if we were using a GIMP. Little nails, we just put a single GIMP in, but like I say, because of this being a very lightweight curtain fabric, I'm not convinced that that would stay. So hopefully you can see that there, ignore that. So we've got a single staple in there. We're going to put some nails in there. I'll show you how to do that now. Just 4 close nails along there. Okay, there we go. Do the other side now. Spin around. Repeat process on this side. Ease the fabric over on the seats, moving it upon the hand, looking down it to make sure we've got a nice curve, and got lumps. Expecting a customer, sorry, looking around. I'm expecting the customer to come in for their replacement cushion fills. Don't be that customer that comes in 10 days before Christmas, less than 10 days, 8 days before Christmas, wants in replacement cushion fills. Come on, you've had all year to sort it out. Cut that off. Put that staple out. Back in. That's the seat. The worst part of this job is the outside back, which I'm just about to get onto. Best part of the job, putting the bottom cloth on and putting it down on the floor done. inside back on. Looks nice. Right, outside back. Let's cut off that excess. These outside backs on these, I'm having to put a lining cloth, a canvas, whatever you want to call it, because we can't, excuse me, we can't put a great deal of tension in this fabric with the fixings that we're going to use. So we don't want people pushing on the outside back and creating a dent in it which will pull the claw fixings which you've seen me use before. We're having to use this metal back tacking strip, this claw, and albeit we're putting tension side to side with that claw, if you push in the middle you can pull the fabric out that claw. So we're going to canvas this, and that will hopefully stop that from potentially happening. I really need to fold it over. This is the fabric that I'm using as canvas is actually certain fabric that's going on the outside of it, so I can give it a good tension in it, side to side and up and down. Customer's been advised of the implications regarding that, but they're happy to accept responsibility for that. I did check, but unfortunately they don't do this pattern on an upholstery weight, or this company doesn't. So use this or nothing, choose a different. Right, piping. This has got piping on the outside back edge. So piping goes on first. As always, I've cut the piping on the biased because it lays better. Even if I am doing just fractions of it. So we're cutting the core out to the piping and then fold the fabric back. There you go, that's better. So that's the canvas on. Now I'm going to put the outside back on. I'm going to need to remark the centre at the top of the back here because I've covered it with the inside back and the canvas. So biggie though. Like so. Top. Like that. I'm going to put it in the same position as I've done on the other chairs. That's not very helpful. Staple just backwards there. Let's pull that out. Cardboard back tacking strip. So, albeit I've got the cardboard back taking strip which is going to do the job, I've still stapled close to the edge of that cardboard so we get a nice clean edge. And we'll put it back down. Okay, so next thing to go on is our back tacking, or our claw in this case. This nasty stuff, very bitey, does hurt, will cut fingers. Again, I've marked the centre on this so we can have these, all these outside backs or which is important when the outside backs are generally what you see in the dining chair. Right, we've now got to trim this fabric off and fold it underneath that claw. So again, I'm using the side of the chair as my guide. You'll see better when I do on the side in a second. Put the fabric underneath that claw, push it down with my thumb. Using a regulated tool to push the fabric in. also using the regulator to push the pipe in out of the way. Cut around the leg, hold that. Let's do the side that we're going to be able to see a little bit better. So, easing the fabric over, I'm cutting the fabric so I have enough to put underneath the claw, but without it being too much that it restricts me closing that claw down. And this is a very thin fabric, so I can have quite a large amount of it to tuck in without it causing any issues. Just working the way along there to the top edge. Nice fold there. Fold, tuck. Fold and the inside of that leg. Pull that off. Got a little bit of a pinch there on the fabric. Just release that. Claw down. Traditionally, before the likes of that metal claw, these edges would have been slip stitched. Along here, still done in some cases. One of these chairs that I ripped up was slip stitched. I think the person that did them last time must have run out of the claw and was on time restraint to get it in, so they just slip stitched it along that edge, which is better. Slip stitching is more traditional, but because it's traditional doesn't always make it mean it's better. It's certainly slower. It's money. So that's the outside back done now, and matches all the other ones. So there you go. Just visually inspect everything as you go. If I see something I'm not happy with, guarantee the customer's going to see as well. Right, so bottom on this, and then it is done. So let's just stand it up. See me put bottom off some things. There it is finished. Tuck that up out of the way. There you go. It's as quick or as slow as that. a lot of preparation was done. It takes longer to rip these chairs up properly to be able to facilitate reupholstering them quickly. So you need to do a decent job of ripping them up to make your life easier for recovering them, and therefore that's quicker. But also having 30 plus years of experience of doing these things does help. So anyway, this is going to be the last video before Christmas. We'll be back in January, so mid-January there'll be a new video coming out with what we've got on with. We're picking up straight away when I return at Christmas. So all this has for me to say is, as always, these are a video vlog. See what's going on in the workshop here at Hammond's Upholstery, not necessarily instructional. But if you pick up any tips along the way, that's great. I look forward to seeing your comments. I hope you all have a great break, if you are having a break, that is. And I'll see you in the new year, first week of January with luck. So please like and subscribe, it means a great deal to me, and I'll keep putting the videos out there as long as you're still interested. I try to keep it entertaining. So till then, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, have a good one, cheerio, bye bye.